Well, we're aiming here to reduce, if possible, the file size of this drawing. For some reason it's a couple of megabytes in size and is displaying rather slowly, especially when we go to the vertical garden area where we've got an awful lot of blocks in this zone. And if I pick one or two of these symbols, I think you might be able to see it's a little slow and jerky when I'm zooming in. So we're trying to reduce the file size to make the performance of this drawing much snappier. I think we've already mentioned that what we really ought to do is to remove any, let's zoom extent so we see the whole of model space. We really want to get rid of a whole lot of elements over here that are not needed, so we can erase all of those. And I'll pan to the right, zoom in on some of this area here. Are these, well, the elevations are certainly needed. So I've probably reduced the file size a little by removing some of those materials. Looks to me as though quite a number of the elements in the drawing in this area here are sort of experimental. But let's also use the blocks command and come here and just scroll down through the block library, because what we're wanting to see is something like citrus tree. Now the block is there but can be deleted, so we're going to say delete all unused blocks, and 32 blocks have been deleted. So we'll do a quick save, and at this time you might want to use the incremental save so that we can go back, but I'm just trying to reduce the file size, not worrying about the design itself. And I will zoom extents again now. It would appear to me that there's some sort of hidden elements over here. Somewhere outside of the zone must be some sort of element which is preventing me from zooming extents. I'll try regen and then right click again and zoom extents. The drawing is a little sluggish, there's no doubt about that. Let's now type the fs file size command, and we're down to 1695. So we've certainly reduced the file size a little, but we've not really made this a nice snappy drawing. Well, it looks to me as though it's the vertical garden area where we've got the big decrease in performance in gCADPlus. So what I'm going to do is to switch to the vertical garden layout and make a PDF file, and we'll just look at the PDF file that comes from it. So I'll come here, and I've made one called Vertical Garden. Can you see that the symbols running through here take a long time to display? So maybe we can improve the performance of this gCADPlus model by modifying at least some of the blocks that are used for symbols in that vertical garden. You may have noticed that it was this particular symbol here that gave us the largest amount of difficulty, or it slowed things down. You notice that the symbol consists of lots and lots of dots. That may well be a hatch pattern. So the first thing I'd look at is to see if we could edit that block and just check what might be going on in the block. So in fact it's a custom hatch pattern, difficult for you to see. But what I'm going to do now is just redo that symbol rather than use a hatch pattern. We'll try putting some, sorry that's very difficult for you to see, but we'll try and put some plant leaves in there to build a new symbol which I hope will be a lot smaller in size and help us load more snappily. So I'll just take a moment and do that. The designer has very carefully set a different colour to each of the hatch patterns. So what I've done is use the polyline command to draw some polylines around the space and match the colours. So now what I'm going to do is to remove the hatching, and we'll erase that, and this one, and that one. Oh, that's interesting. There were several copies of the hatch pattern there in one place. Now we might select all of these polylines and make sure that we put everything on layer 0, and we will apply curve fitting. Now with an ounce of luck, when we return to the drawing, all of those symbols will regen. And what I'm going to do now is to generate a new PDF file and just see if it displays a lot more quickly. We can get greater definition in that block. Maybe we'll do that right now. And we'll say edit the block, and we'll fill at least some of them. This one here, we forgot to set its colour. I'll set it to 142, and let's close or make several of these leaves filled, and we'll close the block editor. Now, to my mind, that doesn't look terribly different to what we had before, but the drawing is now behaving a lot more snappily. We'll now make the PDF file and compare it. Well, let's look at the vertical garden again, and I think you can see a huge difference. That displayed really, really well. I've activated the blocks command. You can do that by typing blocks. We'll go up to the BL on the icon on the toolbar there, and what I do notice as I scroll down through here that there are a lot of blocks that are essentially empty or have their base point not quite in the correct place. There's one called a creepy salt bush, which may well be there or may not. These empty blocks or very poorly created blocks can take up a lot of space in a drawing. So, as you know, scroll down through here, you hope that the current grayed out delete button will suddenly come alight if there is a block that can be deleted. And so far we haven't found any. That looks to me as though we've cleaned this drawing up almost as much as we can, and I'll quickly scroll to, we're nearly at the bottom. I'd be fairly confident now that our file size, so let's type FS, we're down to 1296, so we've really done a good job of bringing the file size of this drawing down and being able to work with it in a very crisp and efficient way.